This is an IEM with 3 dynamic drivers and 1 planar driver. They call this the Whaleshark, manufactured by TRN, one of my go-to brands for trusted, high-quality, low-priced audio gear. Our friends at TRN sent over the Whaleshark for us to do our tests on and review. And I have to say, I am very much satisfied with not only the sound quality, but also with its build quality, box contents, and tuning options. Yes, this comes with a lot of ear tips, so you could tip roll and find a specific tip that will suit your preferred sound and comfort. And you also get 2 other tuning filters for a total of 3, and each with different treble extensions at 3 different levels. This is one that I highly recommend, especially for beginners or for those just starting out in the IEM hobby, as this will allow you to swap out tuning filters and ear tips to find the tuning that suits your preference. Hi, I'm Daniel with the Biboyharanero team. We've been reviewing keyboards, mice, and audio gear since 2019, so consider subscribing and be updated with our new video releases every week. Back to the Whaleshark again, this has 3 dynamic drivers within and 1 planar driver. The dynamic drivers within come in different sizes, a 10.5mm, 8mm, and 6mm, then the planar driver comes at a 6mm size. Looking at the exploded view of this IEM, you see that the 3 dynamic drivers are on top of each other. I've seen chamber-style IEMs, but have never seen this kind of setup with multiple dynamic drivers. I like that TRN tuned this with a V-shaped tuning that I feel would suit a lot of user preferences. The highs have ample detail and the mids are clear, while the bass has power but not fatiguing. And before we explore sound any further, let's go over its build quality first, and this is very exciting. Inside the box, you get the IEM, cable, 3.5mm tip, a 4.4mm balanced tip, 5 kinds of ear tips with 3 pairs each, 2 pairs of extra tuning filters, and the carrying case with a strap. Firstly, let's go over the cable. This is made of really high-quality oxygen-free silver-coated cable. The cable is metallic in color, though if you look closely, the silver wires inside also has some black in it, which makes it very aesthetic. Then it also comes with an interchangeable 3.5 or 4.4mm balanced tip. The cable alone already tells you how much value there is in this package. I really love that they added in this IEM hard case with the best crush resistance I've ever seen on an IEM case. The plastic quality is really very good and doesn't feel cheap. Same goes for the strap that this comes with that you can attach to the hard case. Onto tuning filters, this comes with 2 extra tuning filters and they are mounted on a metal with screw holes on it, so it's organized. Then onto your tips, you get a lot of options here. This may feel a bit overwhelming at first because you're going to have to tip roll and find the best comfort and the best sound. But here's my recommendation. Start with the black ear tips or white silicone ear tips. They're pretty much almost the same, with the black having a softer outer layer. If you find that the trebles are too much on your set, you might want to try on the foam tips. I would try the transparent silicones last, as they're known to feel a little bit sticky in your ears. Now, onto the IEM itself. This is made of aluminum alloy, I believe, as the IEM is heavier than other sets that I've tried. You have 1 vent near the nozzle, and so far, that's all I see on the shell. Then for the faceplate, this is one I would crown as the best faceplate I've ever seen on an IEM. You have an outer layer of aluminum, then an inner layer of aluminum with some blue jewels on it. Whoever designed this has such a fat brain. It looks so good and it makes the IEM look like a dragon egg. Now, as for the shape of the IEM, it's not entirely huge and it has a shape that I would deem would be comfortable for most ears. Wearing it for hours in my tests, I never felt any discomfort. Plus, I got a very good seal with it in my ear and didn't cause any imbalances. The build quality is top-notch and so is the package contents, which is why I deem this the best value for money IEM that I have ever tried. Before we go over highs, mids, and lows, I'd like to first touch on the tuning filters. I tested each tuning filter without having a look at the graphs, and the tuning filters with the red gaskets had a warmer tone to it. If you swap out those tuning filters with the one with the black gaskets, you get a brighter feel. There's no huge change in sound, but the increase in brightness and treble extension is noticeable when the black filters are installed. In most of my tests, I used the black filter and my ear tips that I use for my other IEMs, as I found it the best combo. Now, I also have to mention that I am bass sensitive, as I am easily fatigued by heavy bass and I love bright, detailed tunings. Let's go over bass first. And with this having 3 dynamic drivers, I was expecting an overpowered bass. Surprisingly, the bass wasn't overpowered and was tuned really well to sound control and tamed. The rumbles aren't fatiguing and so are the punches, and with that said, the bass also doesn't bleed into the lower mids. I recently reviewed the TRN Starfish and I have the same comment with its bass response. Very well tuned, that makes it highly technical but not clinical or flat. Onto mid-range, I like that there's a very good body to it. Instruments in songs like country music sound full. None of the instruments get drowned out in the mix, and the same goes especially for vocals. Male and female vocals sound good on this set, they never sound shouty, and they also sound forward, and I've never experienced recessed vocals on this set. Onto the highs, I think there's ample detail here and brightness though. I personally prefer more brightness. There's also no sharp sibilances to it, and I think it was tuned to sound more gentle to the ears. So far, the overall soundstage of the headset isn't wide and isn't also narrow. Again, very much like the TRN Starfish, with a semi-wide soundstage having really well balanced frequencies. In terms of gaming audio, I play a lot of different kinds of titles such as open world or shooter games. When I play open world games, I prefer a bright tuning with very little bass just to make the world immersive. While for shooter games, I prefer tunings with good punch levels from the bass. And with this set, it does the job for any game titles I play, yet it does shine with open world games. I used this to play The Division 2 for a few hours and I didn't feel any level of fatigue in my ear. I see this as a set that you would use to grind for hours and hours in open world games. And with that said, I'm not sure I would recommend this for bass lovers. Though this has ample punch, I feel like the rumbles is not at the level a bass head would want. I recommend heavy bass sets for horror games as it makes it a lot more stressful. And at the end of the day, you play horror games to be stressed, right? Anyways, positional audio on this set is very good and also highly reliable for competitive scenarios. Footsteps on the left are on the left and footsteps that are behind you sound as if they are behind you. And this is thanks to the very well tuned lows that do not bleed over the mids. I don't think any kind of equalization is necessary on this set, but of course that is your choice. Yet, for me personally, I love the tuning of the Whaleshark for everything, media consumption and gaming alike. I highly recommend this, especially for beginners. Links will be in the description down below. Let me know if you have any questions and we'll get to you when we can. Bye-bye.